good to go. Hope everybody had a good week. Get back into this. I've been doing a bunch of work in other spots, but I need to kind of finish up this area that I was working on last week. A lot of this has been at least started. This side, like I said, I need to wait a little bit on. I need to get this area fixed. I'm gonna have to play around with the terrain a bit. But I don't think I'll get to that today. Let's finish this one area off. What? Why? Did it? Probo there sometimes drives me crazy. Hey, Talent. How are you doing? Hey, Chaz. How are you doing as well? Pretty good. Trying to get over a cold though. Yourself? I am doing all right. Battling some allergies today. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not worse than it is. It was worse this morning. I wasn't sure if I was going to stream or not, but it got better. Did some spring cleaning yesterday, and my body does not like dust. So, yeah, my allergies are not happy about that. And then this morning, my son had fallen asleep on the couch last night, so I just left him out there. And his phone had fallen into the couch, and he's like, "Have you seen my phone?" So I'm like, "Oh, it's in the couch." And then I had to like climb inside the couch, and it's super dusty in there. So I was expecting to be a giant hive by now, but I am not, so that is good. But hopefully you get over your cold. That is not fun. Actually, I had to pick up my other son from school this morning because he might have a stomach bug that's been going around. So that's always fun too. Yeah, I'm preparing myself for allergy season. Yeah, I am not looking forward to it. because the season is definitely going to be starting soon. It is beautiful out here. Like, it's supposed to be 70 today. It's probably like in the 60s. It's like my ideal weather. Bridge. This is going to come down. I'm going to need 1, 2, 3. It's like at least edge loops. '70s are great. We aren't quite there yet in Maryland, but no humidity here, so it's nice. Yeah, it's beautiful. Let me see what the actual temperature is. I think it's like in the 60s right now. At least it feels that way. It's 65 right now. Yeah, tomorrow it's supposed to be 67. Then dips back into the 40s and then back into the 50s. So, getting close to mushroom season, which is getting me excited. Back out there foraging for mushrooms again. Actually, hold on a second. I'm gonna be I'm looking at something off screen. Okay, I'm not gonna worry too much, because this basically here is gonna be the zone line. This, I think, will be on the Vale of Zentar side. And I don't know about bringing this edge all the way over. Do it for now. We can always remove it later, or just have it hidden by the zone line. I don't know why. It's so sluggish when you deselect faces. Select the vertice I want you to select. This program, I swear. It's being so stupid today. So some of this, I'm going to have to wait and kind of see how Veil of Zentaur turns out, which is being worked on. It's not by me. Monty's working on that one. And then once that's figured out, I can kind of take the two and merge them together. So I'm not going to worry and stress too much about this for now. Hey, Scruffy Bar, how's it going? Curious how you determine the height of the map. Just whatever feels right. Yep, pretty much. I'm just sitting here and, you know, as I'm going, kind of interpreting. Speaking is hard. The map that Nicodemus made. So, just kind of, you know, making judgment calls on what I think works. And then we'll be tweaking it as more and more stuff gets added. I was running around in it, and the scale actually feels pretty decent already, which is nice. Sometimes when you're jumping between a 2D and a 3D map, like, the scale can get wonky. And what I did to try to help alleviate that seemed to help. Some of the stuff, like some of these... hold on, let me bring up the actual map. Because I didn't open it before, like I should have. So there's things like ruins and stuff like that. They might end up being oversized currently. So these might be a little larger than they need to be. These tents and stuff might be larger than... So, like, the layout of the tents and stuff in here more than likely will be stuff that changes just because the scale gets weird when it comes to props and smaller things. But the overall, like, structural elements so far have been pretty good. Or they feel alright. So... yeah. Hope you had a great weekend, buddy. Oh, thank you. I hope you did as well. My weekend was pretty chill. Which I am not complaining about. What did I do? I cleaned yesterday. Opened the apartment and stuff like that because it's starting to get nice weather here. And then Saturday I did a little bit of work and running around in here. Friday we did a team test, so we were just kind of hanging out and doing a play test, which I hadn't had a chance to play test in a while, so it was kind of nice. So did that, and then Saturday I played a little bit of EQ. What else did I do? Oh, I had started making mead back in December. So I've got 2 meads fermenting. And in December I made an apple pie mead, and then I started a pumpkin pie mead about a month ago, a little over a month ago. So I tasted the apple pie one, and it's turned out pretty good. I had to back sweeten it a little bit. It was slightly drier than I wanted. So I just need to wait for that honey I added to kind of dissolve into everything. And then I can bottle it finally. I'd love to try those. Like the apple pie one turned out pretty good. I've had apple pie mead before. That's why I was like, ooh, I want to try. Like, let's see if I can make one. And I am pretty happy with it. And I wrote down the recipe, so it's repeatable. Granted, I didn't write down I should have measured out and wrote down how much honey I put in to back sweeten it, but whatever. I can do that next time. And I'm hoping the pumpkin pie one turns out good. That one actually says you're supposed to like age it longer, so I probably won't really get around to tasting that one for a couple months. Only recently got into it, but so far haven't had any that I don't like. Yeah, I've been a mead drinker for a while. I more recently started drinking it more often. But yeah, mead's awesome. I love mead. But the problem with mead is it can be a little on the pricier side of things. Because honey ain't cheap. Or at least in that in the quantities needed. But I've been wanting to get into brewing stuff for years, so that was my Christmas present to myself, was a brewing kit. And the nice thing is, like, it's a new hobby, but it's also a low time investment hobby. Like, yes, a lot of time is needed, but, like, actively doing stuff, it doesn't take a lot of time. So it doesn't, like, split my attention from other things, which is nice. Morning Pittis. Hey, Siren. I can finally catch one of your streams. Awesome. Glad you're able to make it. Where did... Oh, it's over here. Like, where did I put that? Oh, Robot's alive. Is Sean streaming? No. Does not look like he is. Yes, he is alive, though. Oh! Sean's right there. I totally missed... Oh, I totally missed that line. Sorry, Sean. How's it going? Oh shit, this is live. I kept looking for the ability to scroll to the beginning. Yep, I'm live. And he's alive as well. And I just apparently can't read chat text. Okay, so let's get this area built out. And I did not set this up right, but we'll make it work. Yep, recovery's going great. Sean. Is the new workflow with the 2D map working well? Oh yeah. Have you had Sean, have you had a chance to run around in Fallen Pass yet? It's coming along pretty well. I'm gonna hop around and run around in a minute. But I want to get this ridge here. At least extruded up. It's still really blocky right now. I intend to kind of take it more into like the Talokir type vibes. But like just blocking it out using Nicodemus's map has been pretty cool. You know, making a couple tweaks here and there to make stuff work a little bit in 3 dimensions, or you know, playing around with like the verticality and stuff like that. I've had to make a couple tweaks here and there, but overall it's come together pretty quick. The one area I really haven't touched much yet is over here, because I'm kind of waiting to see how Fallen Watch, the actual Fallen Watch zone works with the entrance, so that we could kind of try to merge Nicodemus's map idea with what we have in Fallen Watch, and kind of do like a hybrid of the two. And then I had to tweak the entrance a little bit just so that there's not as much geo tweaking. And so that we have a better zone, like a more defined zone line than was in the initial map. But I have not, that's actually cool. I didn't even think about it. I'll have to take a look in a minute. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like the scale and stuff is definitely not too far off. I'm sure I'll end up doing some tweaks here and there. But I'm not happy. Or not happy. I'm not unhappy with it. And the one thing I did initially was I took this map and I brought it into Shaded Dunes, and I scaled it up so like this portion of the map lined up with what was in Shaded Dunes. And for the most part, the scale has been pretty solid. I think the spots where scale is going to get funky is going to be like maybe some of these ruins are going to probably feel a little large, and like the Ratman area over here, I think the scale of the little village and stuff might, like there might be more tents or less tents, like stuff, or huts or whatever they are, as I move stuff around to work with the actual scale. But overall, I have pretty much everything except for the shoreline done, the tunnels done. Nicodemus says he has some ideas for what's going on in like this area, so once I get there, I'm gonna touch base with him, and then, you know, this portion of it, and then I need to export out the Shaded Dunes terrain and like lob off the areas that we just can't see, and then flatten it out so that we can have this kind of desolate area. Yeah, I figure most of these map things, there will be tweaks that end up having to be made. Or, you know, we might just kind of get creative inspiration and, you know, do something or add something. So, but even just having some kind of reference really speeds up the entire process. There's less, like, upfront design decisions to make, because a lot of that, you know, is already there. Okay, so got that. This is way too blocky right now, but whatever. We'll leave it like that. And then this one. Sorry, I'm gonna have a bunch of really funky camera moves because I did not. It's the one spot I didn't actually pay attention to when I was laying that part out. So this goes until about here. Okay, let's take a look. I'll run around and then in there as soon as possible. When the biggest concerns I have with the 2D maps and some of the feedback I gave him is ensuring that things do not feel too big scale-wise, so you don't have to mess with the cozier feel. And too much dead space. That was one of my concerns too. But as I was running around in this towards the end of last week, because what I was initially expecting to do was to kind of build it out, and then I was gonna be too worried about like it being really, really large. And then I was gonna tighten up areas that needed it. It actually doesn't feel too bad. And then I think once I start putting in like rocks and stuff, and especially in some of like the little like canyon ridges up on the top level, where like Drake and Undead and stuff are listed, I think hold on a second. I think adding some rocks and stuff in there to kind of break up the line of sight, again, similar to how some classic EQ zones are, you know, basically just extruded tunnels that have a bunch of rocks in there to make nooks and crannies. I think it will feel even better. But like I said, I don't think it's far off right now. Where am I? Okay, I'm down on the bottom. So I have the speed gem on, so I'm moving pretty quickly. Hold on, let me see. So we're in this area. So there'd be ruins and like rocks and stuff. Kind of along down here. Let me move this so I can actually kind of have this map open on my other screen. This area I changed. There wasn't enough height really to kind of keep this ramp going all the way. I mean, I could probably extend it a little bit, but and maybe adjust the height slightly. So this area opened up a little bit more. But we could always throw in more ruins and stuff in here. And I can tighten. I think I tightened this already a little bit. But if we wanted it to be a little bit sketchier and tighter, that's something we can easily do. And then this is the part that I just worked on. Need to play around with the edges. They're kind of off there. So this would overlook Vale of Zentar. And then, yeah, this is going back into those, like, roosts and stuff like that. I think this is the actual... I think this... I need to pull out more. I think I screwed that up when I was making that at the beginning of the stream. So yeah, that needs to get fixed. This is too open. But yeah, these areas I think feel alright already. Maybe I could tighten them up a little bit, but I think adding some rocks and stuff over here will already tighten it up enough. And then it gives it, you know, enough space to have a bunch of different, you know, like if there's a rock here, you can tuck a mob behind it, and a rock over here, you can tuck a mob behind it, that type of thing. Because this is the undead space. I might tighten up. I think the spot, if I do tighten it up, is going to be kind of the entrance areas to them. So they kind of feel more like a room. And this is the Drake spot. So I think that's the big thing, is maybe tightening up some of these areas so that they, as you transition into the space, they feel more like an enclosed space, as opposed to like an opening up of a cavern. This should bring us back out to the front. Yeah, some overhang and stuff. Right now, all I did was I just kind of like outlined where they were on the map and extruded them straight up. So you can see, like, this is just straight up. So eventually have some, like, overhanging bits and, you know, make this kind of like Telekir where there's slight, you know, angles and stuff like that. And kind of bring that out. And then this area is going to have that kind of ruined structure, which we need to figure out what that's going to look like. And then the hole there. And kind of start at where the water can come out for the waterfall. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. This will probably, I could probably move that up higher. Yeah, some more ruins and stuff. Rubble. And then, yeah, into, you know, these areas, which again are similar to that. I think taking the areas like where they kind of turn into like a small camp, and just kind of maybe bringing this edge in more and defining it more as like a portal way, or even just tightening it up a little bit, I think will make it feel like it's a space in a camp, as opposed to right now it just feels like, oh, it widened out a little bit. So yeah, and like I said, it could be tightening this edge, or it could be just plopping in a rock here to make it feel tighter. Same thing over here. I think this feels a little too wide. So, small little adjustments, but overall, I think the actual, like, space here is not bad. This small little spot, I think, feels fine. Could potentially tighten it up a little bit. But I think that would be more for, like, line of sight. Like, you know, if you drop some rocks or something in here, it would be so that these mobs don't see you, or you don't see them, type of a thing as much. And then this needs a ladder at some point. And then I was playing around with the height on these, and, you know, this is obviously super blocky, temporary bridges, but the height and elevation on these might get adjusted a little bit. So maybe this one gets up a little higher, maybe this one's even a little bit lower, so there's a little bit of progression up where you're not necessarily, it makes it, you know, line of sight for pulling a little bit more difficult. And then this is supposed to have a ladder over here. I extended this a little bit further over here. Maybe it'd be kind of fun to do something behind the waterfall once that's in there. This will be cool once we have the actual keep kind of looming over everything. And then I need to extrude this stuff up eventually. But it's coming along. And then this area is all sorts of ruins and stuff like that. And again, I think the ruins are the spot that it's gonna be more us freestyling and kind of building out those things than just kind of following the map, because I think the map ones are going to end up being, you know, overly scaled, just the difference between it. But yeah, and then I adjusted it so that, you know, this portion of the cliff, which I'm trying to keep as much of the silhouette that is in Shaded Dunes from this cliff and this cliff, trying to keep them the same so there's not as much work to try to line these two zones up. And then I adjusted this so you're not getting a ton of Shaded Dunes in here. So then, like, the guard tower can go, you know, here. And then the zone line could be, like, here. And you just get little glimpses of Shaded Dunes. That way, you know, the image plane's still there. But I could hack out a lot of the actual, like, geo when I build out this terrain. So, like, anything basically that isn't that mountain ridge over there and isn't, you know, above that line, we can pretty much eliminate. Although, hold on. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I do want to keep some of that because if we're levitating up here, we might be able to see that I hacked out large bits of the terrain. But I can decimate the mesh and just make it super low poly. From like that line on. But I need to take this mesh and start to prepare it for this because Polybrush does not want to let me paint on like half of this mesh. I don't know why. So I'm going to bring it into Maya, flatten this area. At least I decimate that area a little bit and then go from there. So this whole area will get its terrain bits. Might need to push. Yeah, I haven't even touched this. So the one thing is every time we move this around, we'll have to think about that when we go into Shaded Dunes. But Shaded Dunes needs to get updated anyways, and so does whatchamacallit, Night Harbor. So both of them will need to be updated when this gets updated. So moving it around doesn't really matter because it's all placeholder in all three zones. So and also I can play around with the height on some of this stuff too. What am I bumping into? It's probably something left over from the old zone. No? Maybe not? Weird. But yeah, I can even make some of this stuff higher too if we really want to push the verticality. These I think will end up definitely just being higher, but if we want the players to be moving up higher, I can tweak some of this stuff. Right now, as I was just laying out the initial stuff, I've kept this very flat. You know, we can tier this up, we can slant some of this stuff so it's not as flat. And kind of play with that as well to get more elevation in areas and not have it all on one level plane. This has a little cave thing right here that needs to be built. Oop, I forgot. This one actually needs a little... I need to fix this. This isn't reminiscent of what we want. But it's coming along. Like I said, the overall scale feels right or close enough. And I think some of these areas will feel a little bit tighter. And what am I... You know what? It might have been fly mode and the speed. I might have been warping into the ground there. But yeah, I think these areas are feeling nice and tight. Some of it, like maybe in this area, it can get a little bit tighter, but I think rocks and stuff will really kind of help with that feel. The moon phases, I've liked them. I don't know if I don't think I pointed it out on stream yet, but Elise got moon phases in. We need to eventually update the moon textures, but it's definitely cool it makes it feel more alive, in my opinion, having those. Oh, nice. Yes. That'll be awesome. Yeah, basically just kind of like, what's the overall color? Are there any, like, major features that we want to be able to visually see? Does it have an atmosphere? Does it not have an atmosphere? That's something I can even... I've done paintings of moons and planets and stuff before. So I'm even comfortable with making those. Or at least making, like, a rough first pass of those. You see, you get some voice to text going for it? Nice. Alright, let's log back out. And let's clean up this area a little bit more. Camera's freaking out. There we go. Will pushing the verticality be too much of a pain in the ass? It shouldn't be, depending on how much we're doing it and, like, how consistent it is throughout the zone. What, the whole amounts of verticality and death drops? Well, that was not what I wanted. Waiting to do the mountains in the north. The king of the north is just wandering the mountain. It's initially blacked in. I can make it look better later. Hey Ginny, how's it going? Special guest on Loving Robot today? Yes. Oops, sorry guys, I hit the wrong hotkey. Hey Dragon, how's it going? Good call and save. Eventually make that look like a collapse more, but for now, keeping it blocky. I mean, not that it won't be blocky anyways, but keeping it less so, or more so blocky. What? Oh, Pro Builder. Pro Builder is battling me today. Okay. There we go. I guess it's probably doing the same thing there. Yep, it was. Let's... I swear, sometimes... Oop, that was not what I wanted. Oh my gosh. Come on. Okay, that looks good. I'm not sure if you guys can even see on the stream, so some of these edges are obviously... Yeah, I hate Pro Builder at times, and it's because of stupid stuff like that. I never put a face there, and it's just like, hey, I'm gonna throw an extra face in here. You didn't do anything to add that face, but you wanted it, right? And I can tell because these edges are slightly thicker than they're supposed to be. Which usually means you have doubled up. Faces a lot. You have a face like collapsed inside that edge. And of course, welding it didn't do anything, which would have helped. But that is good. Hey, Goblin, how's it going? That outcropping pillar's dope. Awesome. Yeah, I totally forgot it was there when I was blocking it in. And I noticed it right here. And I was like, that needs to come back. I don't want to lose that from the concept. I liked it. More of those if possible. Yeah, I could probably lean into that in some areas. I think there's a couple spots. So, like, I was planning on grabbing some of those pillars over here to make this type of stuff. And I think some of these will end up having that similar feel. Some of these could even probably be turned into caves. Like, I could probably, bridge over that, too. Probably even do one right here. There isn't one on the map, but it makes sense that this portion of it is being supported by something. Able to huddle for a second? Yeah. I can hop in a huddle. Let me turn... are you just gonna jump into, like, environment? Yep, that works. Hello? Hold on, I don't hear you. I need to turn the music down, too.
Okay.
There, now I can hear you. I think you're getting picked up.
For mine, it usually just picks me up with the rest of the background noise.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, you guys hear him? Good. Let's say it's the first time I've tried to do a huddle on stream. Let me turn the music down a pinch. One, because my brain doesn't work with multiple sources of audio.
Oh, dude. It kills me. It kills me.
Yeah, me too. Like, if I'm sitting here, I have like a podcast or something going on, that my son will walk in, start talking to me, and then there's like music playing, and my brain's just melting down in my skull. I'm like, hold on a second, I need to turn off some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm so bad. I've got to put it, like, I have to put in earbuds even in a quiet room.
Yeah.
So I shared my screen really quickly, just for, I didn't want to distract too much, but I also felt like I'd feel bad if, as you're doing this, the feedback came in later.
Uh-huh.
And so I figured I'd mention it now. It's interesting, the thing you were just showing with the overhangs, it was, you were showing those right as I was thinking, like, if we hit a space where we need to eat up floor space, like, if we get in here, it doesn't help that I'm a freaking gnome at the moment. Let me change to something bigger. Like, best case scenarios, like ogre.
You don't care if I show this your stream on stream, right? So, everyone else's context.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you remember? It's funny. I don't remember any of the. Let's say ogre. Cast. Sorry, my typing's real bad right now.
Oh, you're fine. I think that's understandable.
been trying to use voice to text as much as possible. Just because I think I bullshitted around too much when my finger was broken. And I was like continuing to do everything normally just with like my thumb and the two fingers that weren't in the cast. And I think it may have contributed a little bit to the pressure on the tendons that eventually ripped and shit, thus leading to a lack of finger. So this time I'm going to listen a little bit and see if I can get healed. All right. So yeah, like if we find that some of this space, which once I'm, it's crazy how much bigger the ogre is. I was just placing those crystals in glass flats, and and I just once you're like an ogre form and throw in some like bats or skeletons that are 2.5 to 3x the size of a human or their normal size, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this doesn't look so empty. But I was
Mm-hmm.
just thinking with these overhangs and stuff, if we find that we need to eat up like 20% of floor space, my question for you was like, one, if we get in here and we're like, hey, we want to trim this in just to really focus on nailing the right scale. Um, so my question was like, is that going to be a big deal? But then if these are kind of, well, but this is also floor space. So, but like if we have these areas where you're not going to really, they're not play space above there. If we just like swell these up a little bit, um then they can eat up some space. But the the overhangs and the braced overhang that you were just working on are so dope looking that I think those can also help some.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I was thinking, because that's like an old collapsed road over there too. So there'd be
Mm.
like, you've got the, hold on, I need to turn off closed captioning. It is getting in my way. There we go. So yeah, you have the little base parts on there, but then like chunks of rubble from that roadway that used to be up here has now fallen down. So I think we can
Mm.
scatter some of that around, and then the like if you're looking at the map, I don't think the ruins are going to end up being one for one. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I'll end up making them slightly more complex and like adding more rooms and spaces and stuff to them, just because I have a feeling like if I just do a one for one, and I might try out like one or two of them, but I have a feeling the scale is just going to be off um,
Yeah.
with those. So I think those are the type of like the details that make it feel cozy and you know kind of confined. Like this area too. I think those will be things that we'll probably end up playing more with and not one for one taking it from the map. Um,
Mm.
and then tucking little fun things here and there. And then this is all water, so I'll probably play around with the elevations and stuff and have some boulders and things down in the water as well eventually.
Okay, so this is water. So this
Yep.
is the lowest point in the zone. And the elevation was the main thing that I wanted to mention here, and then I'll get out of your hair. The I was just trying to see what's the kind of lowest point. So we've got the sand.
Yep. So those will be the sand dunes. You've got like the um that dragon skull, and then um so yeah, it kind of progresses up from here. Um
Okay,
so this is probably the lowest area right here.
okay. So if this is the lowest area, and then this is kind of how it connects to shaded dunes.
Yep.
This is where I was like most concerned with getting the feedback in. So if this is the lowest area, remember how vertical? Yeah, exactly. Remember how vertical
Mm-hmm.
the old placeholder zone felt? Like
Yep.
it just felt freaking deep. For for us, I think one of the things that's been working is just our ability to get kind of wild, and you know, it's. I think it's the willingness to push things like in that kind of old school way, but with far fewer constraints. So it's like, why is the room blue? Because blue is cool, right?
Yep.
You know, it's that type of thing where we're not locking ourselves in. I think verticality is another one of those areas, and then the way that we make the world feel contiguous despite it being zone based. Received a lot of positive feedback on that, and I think in some cases the mix of those things. I don't know if Simon mentioned it, but we were in Glass Flats last week before the surgery, I think, and I was like, "Can you grab one of the mountains and put it sort of in the where the middle would be of, you know, basically the old concept of Mount Akir, like when we had all the stuff going on in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and so like between Telekir, Sungreed Strand, and that middle area." And I was just like, can you scale it up? And he scaled it up. I was like, make it even bigger. And he made it even. And so it was like, just go like gargantuan mode. And he just made it huge. And it was just in the middle there. And I was like, okay, that looks, you know, that looks cool. And have that sort of be in the center, um, which could block line of sight to the citadel and other stuff. But it also creates this interesting negative space that no time soon will we explore. But my brain naturally goes like, what's in that big ass mountain in the middle of everything as well, right? Those mountains.
Oh yeah.
But I also think it prepares us for when we go into the zones that have mountains. Like I really would love to see how hard we could push it
Mm-hmm.
just to make it sound like he's just, you know, we just so that we've got this mountain that we're like looking up at in the distance and it like hits the cloud layer. And then when you're zoning up, I think I've joked a few times about like, you know, making a mountain that's like two or three zones high, where you just
Oh
zone
yeah.
up,
Yeah.
and then you keep going and zone up again, and then you're in like the cloud layer and stuff. I think the dragon just, oh my goodness. So yeah, so with this, I do think like going in and finding like where this should be,
Mm-hmm.
where it starts to feel epic enough, and then we can look in shaded dunes and see like what's the implication with it being that high. I'd like to think that on one hand it'll feel a little weird because we've had the same kind of like silhouetted skyline for a while, but on the other hand I don't know that it will necessarily be a bad thing as long as we just make the mountains look good, um, you know, from that angle.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if the priority is having it look cool from this perspective, where it's really above you and for boating and that, I don't think it will be that difficult to do. And like you said, it might feel a little weird and off initially, but I don't think pushing it up too high in Night Harbor and Shaded Dunes is going to be a bad thing, because again, it'll be visible from more vantage points at that point. So there'll be more parts in Night Harbor in the city that you'll see it off in the distance. There'll be more parts that it'll be more consistently looming over you, um,
Mm.
in Shaded Dunes. So I don't think it's a bad thing. And this initial mountain here is a separate mountain in both scenes, so I can modify this just by like extruding up so that the actual silhouette of the top can kind of remain the same. And then I just
Yeah.
add more edge loops of detail, between where its current position is and where the top position is. And we can also, keep it lower on this end and build it up towards the coastline too.
Yeah. So that makes sense as well, right? Because then it's kind of that progression. I think the other thing that it allows us to do, it's not just about Fallen Watch being so much higher. I think that's part of it, but then again, the other thing that it allows us to do is make these stair steps.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of these a little more formidable and a little bit more right because right now we're kind of this is our verticality.
Mm-hmm.
for this area.
Well, one thing I was also
And
thinking about, again, because I just did the initial block out, and I still want to play around with the elevation a little bit, is I think I want it to, kind of like you just said, stair step. So, like, you have the first one here, this one here, or maybe this is a little bit higher. The only thing is, like, the overhangs need to be, need to make sense that there was a road between the two at one point. But, maybe that area, which we can't see right now, with the roosts and stuff, maybe that steps up a level, and then that leads to where those ruin, or that steps up to where the ruins are, and it plateaus, and then it gets up even higher. So, like, as you progress towards the keep, you're continually going up, where right now it's just flat.
yeah, yeah, and just having that be a like you're saying, more of a constant progression versus the flat. I think it should be hard to justify, because even like, even going up here, it's steep, but you know,
Mm-hmm. And I also think maybe even making this a little sketchier, maybe pulling this in slightly, could
okay,
work too. Unless you guys plan to have a bunch of like encounter space up on this ramp, which I'm not assuming you do. Um, maybe it's not the entire thing, but like some areas, it just gets narrower and feels sketchier.
I think generally speaking, because when you consider just um, how much bigger that ogre was compared to human and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've erred on the side of too narrow or too cozy much so far, and that's an area where I think we can continue to maybe shift a little bit more to that.
Mm-hmm. I think this develops too, I kind of want to add some of those little like super thin bands that you can like run along to get to other areas, within this space. Because I think the original one that you did had a couple of those spots, didn't it? Have like some sketchy like parkour almost, where you were like going along, um, a cliff face.
Yeah.
I kind of want to bring some of that into here, but I think it's going to be one of those things that I can, like, those spots will reveal themselves as the zone's heights kind of get locked in. Because right now everything is flat because I was just trying to get the footprint correct before I really worried about the verticality.
Okay.
That's kind of the
Yeah,
next
I
step.
just wanted to ask and hop on now, just in case, the feedback of make everything fucking twice as tall somehow ruins a
Nope.
bunch of work later. So,
Nope. No, this is actually the time to really say, to get that type of feedback in, before I start going in and adding more edge loops and starting to like sculpt everything. That's where it starts to get annoying.
oh, on the narrowness factor, if you do err on the side of a little bit cozier, what what we could potentially do if we
Whoa,
find, hey, we need
Dragon,
a
thank you.
little bit more space.
Sorry,
Oh, sure.
Dragon just gifted 10 subs. Thank you very much.
Awesome. If we find that it's too narrow, and I mean, we can always extrude with the overhang, which is such
Mm-hmm.
a cool look, anyways. So I think it's, for us, for a while, better to err on the side of cozier, because we've
Mm-hmm.
got so much just big shit going on in the desert so far.
Yep. Yeah, and in some of those areas you were talking about over, down, when we were back on the other side of this on the ground, having overhangs, like some of this stuff on the ground level, like it's gonna be super easy to just pull it out to make some of those lower areas cozier. Um, Again, most of the stuff right now is just kind of straight vertical, just to make it easier to select stuff and make adjustments, height wise and like width wise. So I can tighten, like, it's easy to tighten up the lower areas, as well. And then, like I said,
Cool.
adding in some just like giant boulders and rocks and stuff, I think will help tighten up some of those areas too.
Cool. And I honestly, on some of these, like, these are already pretty steep, but I do think the additional, especially for the ones that aren't like the main transport route that used to be used or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think the additional verticality and sketchiness will be appreciated by folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I think like the one design thing that'll be interesting to figure out with the height is this. Can you rotate so I could see where the road used to be? So like this area needs to make sense that there was like a bridge here at one point or a road there at one point. So
Yeah.
if the rest of the zone is progressing up vertically over here, I think this will end up having some kind of slant up to the ruins that are up here. I think that's really the only change that I'll need to make. So like some kind of pathway that's going up and landing on, you know, and then those ruins are kind of overlooking this road that used to link up to the watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I do think, you know, having these main routes still basically be going up the whole time is fine, right? Like, and Nicodemus just mentioned like the width being enough for caravans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I also think that wide enough for caravans. I guess when we get wagons in, we'll see, and again, we can always adjust. But there's a difference between like it's a comfy ride down, and it's like, I mean, shit, there are places in California that I've been where when you're driving, you're not super comfortable on that
Oh,
road.
I have definitely done some white knuckle mountain driving before in my life. Do not recommend.
So the whole wagon wheel almost peeking off the edge while you're coming down that portion of it after being in a nice open desert or whatever, I could see that being you know, it's still working. Okay, dude, I'm gonna hop off again and you know, get ready for dinner and get out of your hair. But
Cool.
thanks for letting me hop on.
No problem, man. Nice talking to you.
Likewise. See ya.
Later. All right. Let me turn the music back up for you guys. And I will get caught up on chat in a second. Let me give you guys the music and turn the music down in my ear. Because again, me speaking or reading or doing anything with too loud of music and stuff, just my brain starts to melt. Let's get caught up on chat. Where did Sean jump into stream? There it goes. Alright. You guys in the huddle too. Well, I did. Well, you guys all got to participate in the huddle. Oh, you could barely hear. Apologies if the sound wasn't loud enough from him. It's not like Discord where I can like individually boost people. Unfortunately, that was as high as volume that I could get it already. I couldn't adjust it any higher. Make it Tolkien-esque. Sean is really quiet compared to you. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Nick. I wish that was the one thing I wish Slack had, was that ability, like in Discord, to boost individual voices. Afternoon. Oh, hey, Nicodemus. And D loves pudding. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. I was like tripping over my tongue trying to say D loves pudding. How you doing, D? New month. It is a new month, Dragon. Again, always super appreciative of the gift subs, and hopefully everybody else is as well. Let's see who got the gift subs. Stoic got one. Be More Gaming, Meeks, Zillith, Trig 1, Justin, Lisava, Bilth, John Fire 13, and Monosaur. Enjoy your month of no commercials. I think the path up to Vale of Zentari needs to be wide enough for a horse-drawn cart. Right now, Nicodemus, I just did this earlier in the stream. It's really wide. So I might even tighten it. It is very, very wide. So I think I'm going to end up reducing it maybe by half. But I'm also going to kind of wait until Monty's done with the Vale of Zentar to really do too much work over here, because we're going to have to line the stuff up in some way. So probably bring in his terrain, snap it to this terrain, or snap my terrain to his terrain, and then, you know, get it to go from there. So that will be future. Like, this area is going to be the roughest area until that's all done. So with the height stuff, so this will need to be here. This area over here being risen up, and it kind of progressing. So I think we'll keep this area flat. This area will progress upwards and then flatten out here. Like, this area will be flat, but it'll be, you know, higher up. And then this area will be... So basically, yeah, these areas here will be progression. So vertical progression, flat, vertical progression, flat, and then once I have that locked in, this area will be, again, pretty level since it was a road. And then this will have a ridge, you know, however high it ends up being. Maybe this moves up to here, and then I'll make some sort of road up into this area. Something like that. Hey, Soldier Fates. Chills. You're referencing most of the Pacific Highway. I agree. It's scary on a wagon. We need high cliffs to take you 30 seconds to fall to your death. Oh, I'm sure we'll have something like that at some point. Hey, Defiant. Group cuddle sounds sweet. I just turned my volume up, no worries. Awesome. Again, I wish I could do more. The sound on huddles is not great. And then you could turn on the, which I turned off in that huddle. You can turn on the closed captioning, so it like auto generates closed captioning, which I usually use closed captioning anyways, because my hearing is probably my least strong sense. And again, noise and stuff can easily distract me, so having like a visual there always is great. But the closed captioning doesn't, like, it interacts with the, or it blocks you drawing with the pencil or the pen tool that we were using during that huddle. So I always end up turning it off if I'm going to be drawing. And that closed captioning is so off, it's hilarious at times. Like, if you're actually like reading along and listening to what the person's saying and it's just doing its own thing, you're like, wow, that is literally nowhere near to what we're talking about. Stream huddle was cool. Glad people got a chance to see how it works. Yep. That's the first one I think I've actually done on this stream. I've been in a couple on other streams, but I don't think I've actually done one on my stream before. Just another put in loving day. Nice. How's the woodland area progressing? Can't wait to see them. Currently, it is not being worked on actively, because that was for the biome jam. That will be a future, like, zone, where it'll have a little bit more like actual like zone layout and stuff behind it. But currently, we are not. It is not being worked on actively. Belt, who was working on that, is starting to work on Wormsbane props, I believe. Hold on. Oh, the Belt, you're in here, aren't you? Or you were. You got a sub. I don't know if he dipped out after that. But I believe that's what he's working on this week. Yep, that's what he posted. I need to post in the update. It's all good. I agree with anything you need to do to make it work. My stuff is more of a guidance. There will be stuff needed alternate for sure. Oh yeah, but even as a guide, like it's super helpful. The things that I think will be different again is, you know, if this is progressing, you know, up, flatter, up, flatter, and then you kind of have a road here, which in my head I was already thinking going the other side, but actually we could do it on that side too. So that would be an elevation change essentially. The places I think will get the most like creative fine-tuning is going to be like ruins and stuff like that. So like, you know, I think if I did a 1-for-1 on this, it would be gigantic. And then feel like really open. And I think I'll probably, like all the placement in here, I may end up adding extra tents and stuff to make it feel cozy. And then, like, over here, I did a minor change. I kind of extended this portion of the ground. And maybe we can tuck something behind the waterfall or something like that. These are hand-drawn maps by Nicodemus. This is Nicodemus's handiwork. And it's been super fun to work off of. And I did a bunch of other alterations. So, like, over here, I changed this up a lot. Just so that it's an easier transition between what we have in Shaded Dunes and what we have. So even, you know, having to make adjustments, having something here goes a long way to speeding up the initial layout. And then it's just kind of, you know, now I'm at the point where it's almost, hey, I need to start kind of adjusting that verticality, like me and Sean were just talking about, to make that whole thing work. So what I might end up doing is breaking off like that. And part of the reason why I didn't go in and actually like work on all of the tops of these yet is because it makes it way easier for me. Let's bring so now that this is flat, or still flat, not that I just flattened it, you know, it makes it easier to grab these and move them up however high they will end up needing to go. And then, you know, I can grab these individual areas now and raise them up. What I'll probably end up having to do is start it from this side Let me grab this. And if we want this really, you know, kind of looming over us, let's get down. You know, the watch is like up there now, looming over us as we go. Let's duplicate this so I have a reference to the two. Ah! Sometimes I really hate you, Pro Builder. So yeah, now I kind of have a reference to where it was, which is down here to up there, and then it's going to be, you know, maybe moving this up to like here, and then just figuring out how I want to progress these areas, which are nice because like I have like these hallways, so like this, you know, corridor can go up. Flattens out in the Drake room here. I think I'm going to tighten this entrance up. Let me do that now that I'm thinking about it. Come on. Alright. I'm going to have to reset my computer soon. That should not be... Yeah. Well, it's almost the end of stream time anyways, which I guess is a good time for it to start freaking out on me. But that should not be taking that long to update. So let's save. Anyways. Yeah, so like, you know, this would be a flatter area, but I could have these hallways kind of progressing up. So, you know, stepping some areas and kind of really figuring out how that's going to work. What's the other area in here? Over here, which is going into a cave. So maybe... I don't know if I'll flatten this area or maybe have it build upwards and then down into the cave. But Robot is still doing that Swiss cheese crap. Yeah, it was on that one. It was a duplicated mesh. Sometimes on the duplicated meshes it gets stupid. But let's see how it's gonna look over here. That's gonna be really high up. But yep. So I'm not gonna work on that right now because, like I said, Pro Builder's being stupid. And I'm already kind of at the 2-hour window anyways, and I need to go to the bathroom, and I'm kind of hungry. So all of those, I'm probably going to end up the stream in a couple minutes here. But yeah, that's the plan. It will be, next step is to kind of get the elevations tiered out. So again, step 1, step 2, step 3. And then I'll have to figure out what's going on with all this over here. But the zone's coming along. And I need to chop up. I need to export out this. And then, or not that, this. And then I will have to get that all working correctly. And probably heavily reduce all of this stuff in the background. Like, I could probably chop off some of this. But I gotta constantly be thinking about, like, you know, where's the top of this zone going to be? And I can the zones will have invisible walls, like blocking areas, so I can force a player down here. So if you're levitating, I can have you hit like a ramp that pushes you down, so that like this is the highest you'll be able to see. Like that's all stuff I get to control as the level designer. You know, with the bounds. So that's just something I have to like make note, think about as I'm building out stuff, so that players aren't like seeing too much over here and all that fun stuff. Make it chunkier. Always. All right, so I'm gonna save this, make sure I caught up on chat, which I have a feeling I skipped over some. Nicodemus agrees on tweaking runes. Please allow us to drag NPC corpses to the blowhole and shoot them into the air. Oh, that'd be hilarious. What an animal. These are great. Tell me Nicodemus made maps for D&D campaigns. He did. Understand on transition, lesson learned from me. Oh, hey, first. I have all my life. Wait till you get to see some of the Veil of Centaur stuff. I really like some of the maps that you've been doing for the Veil of Centaur. Especially the little like off dungeon areas. I'm been enjoying those. Really cool stuff, dude. Yeah, one day maybe we'll be there. Thank you, but Paytas is really doing all the heavy lifting. It's a collaborative effort for sure. Toodles. Later, Dragon. Alright, guys. I'm all caught up. I'm going to call it here. Gonna go use the little ranger's room and grab a sandwich. And I hope you guys all check out that website link I just put in there. If you're new to the channel, that's our website. We're making an indie MMO titled Monsters and Memories. It's very influenced by the kind of classic first generation of MMOs. So think EverQuest, Ultima Online, Dark Age of Camelot, that era is a major influence. That is our Discord. Feel free to hop in there if you have any questions. Tag the devs. We're all in there. That is our update link. You'll get a newsletter. We usually send them out once a month. Sometimes we double up months. I believe we're doubling up February and March, so we won't be sending one out unless something changed. We won't be sending one out this week. But other than that, it's a great way to stay up to date with what's going on. These are all the members of the team that streams, so if you haven't already, throw them a follow. This is our YouTube channel. You can get caught up on past VODs there. If you are watching YouTube, please remember to like, subscribe, comment below, click the bell, all that fun stuff. The more engagement we get with those metrics, the more likely it is YouTube's algorithm will recommend M&M content. Also, there should be a link down below to my Twitch channel, Paytas the Ranger. If you click on the link and follow the channel, you'll get a notification whenever I go live. There's also a opt-in on Discord for streaming notifications. If you opt in, it should give you a notification when any of us go live. And I totally forgot to check if the bot actually... Hey! It actually recognized that I was streaming for once. It tends to hate me. But other than that, at least through this semester at work, I am only streaming on Mondays. And it's anywhere between like 10 and 12 in the morning that I generally start the streams, and I go for 2 or 3 hours. And then, yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. Thank you especially to all my subscribers. Always appreciate the generosity. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. I will catch you guys next Monday. Have a lovely week. Hopefully you guys have as nice a weather as we're getting here in Cleveland. But other than that, later guys.